In this lesson, we'll learn how to clean up the transform values of constrained objects. Let's work with the character's upper body here. What we'll do is go to Tools, Manage Layers, and let's go ahead and show the skeleton. Alright, so from here, we'll go ahead and press F3. We'll go ahead and take a look at the bone objects that we've constrained to these controls. So if we were to grab any one of these, let's say the backbone, underneath our motion panel, and underneath rotation, we'll go ahead and scroll down and take a look. We had to use keep initial offset to prevent the bone from flipping when the constraint was applied. If we were to go ahead and turn this off, you can see how it's going to flip out of place. Why does that happen? Well, that's simply because the orientation of the bone object and the control do not match. So how do we fix this without having to use keep initial offset? Because right now we have some very messy values here. Well, let's go ahead and learn how. What I'll do is go ahead and turn back on keep initial offset. We'll head over to our create panel. Well, let's go ahead and create a point helper. So adding that to the scene, I'll head over to the modify panel and I'll switch this to a cross instead of a box. I think visually it'll help us to see what's happening. Alright, so now with this selected, let's go ahead and use Alt-A to align this over to our backbone. We want to align in position and orientation, so let's make sure all 6 are checked. We'll now choose OK. Alright, so if we were to take a look at this object, we'll grab our Move tool and we'll switch this to local mode. You can see how it is now oriented. If we were to grab the backbone, you can see it's oriented the same way. So what that means is that now that our helper and our backbone are matched, we can create an orientation constraint that ties the backbone to our helper, and we no longer have to worry about keep initial offset. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. With our backbone selected, we can go to our motion panel, and let's go ahead and choose Add Orientation Target. Now we can go ahead and select our helper, and watch this. Let's go ahead and grab our animation control for the back, and we're going to go ahead and delete that orientation target. I'll also turn off Add Orientation Target. And watch this, we no longer need keep initial offset. You can see when we turn it off, the back stays in the exact spot it needs to be in. And now when we go ahead and grab that helper, we can start to move that around, and you'll see that we're getting control over the back. So that's basically how we would eliminate keep initial offset from our workflow. We simply want to make sure that we have matched our controlling object to the object that we would like to constrain. But now this isn't ideal for animation, so how can we tie this back to our animation control? All we need to do is grab our link tool and link to our back control. So once we have linked that helper to our back control, you'll see that when we grab the back control and we start to move it, again, we now have control over the back. And not only that, but everything is nice and clean. Very cool. So since we've managed to do this, we now have a very nice way of creating clean constraints. Let's go ahead and rename this helper. That's going to be ptdrv underscore back 01. And then we could have this stored in our hidden layer. Let's go ahead and choose add. So eventually we'll want to hide this object. But that's basically how we would handle cleaning up our transforms on objects that get constrained. So if you don't want to use keep initial offset, now you have a better approach. All right, great. So the next step is to learn how to dynamically parent objects. And let's go ahead and work with the eyes on that one. So that's what we'll do in the following lesson.